Alright, we're live. Today's episode we're going to be continuing reading the Batman Year 1 script, and if you hear something in the background, that is Lola, my cat, who's having cabin fever, and you might hear my neighbors next door be really loud, so hopefully they're quiet and they shut up. So anyway, we're going to give an update where I've been up to, and we're going to play the intro, and let's get it going, shall we? We're going to be continuing reading the Batman Year 1 script. Whoops, sorry. I'm trying out a new sparkling water, which is cherry lime sparkling water, so... Anyway, and I've been really catching up on what's going on with the Batman movie, the Robert Pattinson Batman movie that's going on. And let me I know there's a lot of people who are excited for it, and I'm one of the people. Like, anytime there's a new Batman movie coming out, I'm excited. I look forward to it. I look forward to any Batman story that's going to be done, except Curse of the White Knight, which sucks. I'm sorry, like, that, when it first started, it was really a good comic, but Curse of the White Knight fucking sucks. It is a terrible comic. And, you know, there's some people who love it now, but I'm one of those people that I flat out don't like it. I love the first White Knight comic, and this one, the Curse of the White Knight, I really don't like. It's nothing against Sean Murphy. Like, Murphy's artwork is fantastic. You know, he has a great vision and idea. But the story idea that involves, I assume at the end of the story, Harley Quinn and Bruce Wayne having a romance, an emotional romance, is stupid. Is very stupid thing, because one, it makes absolute no sense. since she just gave birth to Joker babies. And now, you have this story idea, and I am letting the song finish out, the intro song. There might be a new one. I couldn't help but listen to a classic cover by the band Korn, which is Lowrider, on the album Life is Peachy. For those who don't know, Brian Welch, aka Head, did the intro, and Lola's running around with my sock. So I don't know where she gets that from. Taking my socks and running around like a crazy wildcat. So, anyway, the movie is set in the present day, according to reports by Grace Randolph. Claims that the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman movie is indeed set in the present day, and there is no connections to the upcoming Batgirl film or the Joker movie. While discussing casting surrounding the Batgirl movie, YouTuber Grace Randolph dropped tidbits about what she heard of the Batman movie, and that is set in the present day, not in the past like some fans thought. Randolph said that she's been told the info from a source she didn't want to reveal. Again, more about the sources. I always hate it when YouTubers say, like, I heard from my source. It's like, do you sound like Donald Trump? Just say who and be done with it. Anyway, Donald Trump kind of pissed me off for a while. Like, I got really aggravated with the last press conference that he did. I know I don't talk about politics, and I try to avoid it, but I talked about the Tiger King thing, how fucking dumb and trendy that is. How, how do you defend? How do celebrities, like, I hate celebrities. For those who don't know, for those who listen to the show, know I hate Hollyweird. I don't like them, and ever since the Tiger King documentary series happened, a lot of celebrities been jumping on the bandwagon, defending a guy who murdered his tigers, who murdered recently his niece, who helped prosecute him, revealed that this guy is completely fucked up in the head, and that the whole documentary, which we all kind of knew, only showed parts that people who made the film wanted others to see, not the entirety of the case and story, which bugs the fuck out of me anytime a documentary does that. It's like the Aaron Hernandez thing. Like, throughout the whole entire case and story, they talked about the guy, and they basically, instead of talking about the crimes he committed and the things he did, they just talked about him being a closeted homosexual. That's basically what the entire fucking documentary covered. And I'm just like, really? You don't want to cover the whole gang murder thing and murdering his fiance's her brother, and she, knew about it and stuff? It's basically what the whole documentary was about, was just basically this guy's personal life, no one really gave a shit. No one cared. Everybody cared about the murder and cases, the stuff he did, and this whole Tiger King thing is just like what the niece revealed that was gross and disgusting was he murdered tiger cubs, froze them, sent one to a university and the other to a taxidermy so he can keep the tiger Skeletor, stuffed, taxidermy, tiger. And which is just completely horrifying that they just didn't even bother covering that in the documentary. Instead, it's just like, this guy is kooky and crazy. He's relatable to the Hollyweird. And the other story was, it was revealed that he allowed people to have sexual relations with animals. And hearing that was just the grossest shit I have ever read. Denise revealed it, and that he took videos of it, like people having sex with tigers and animals. And I'm just like, it's a shame this guy didn't get mauled to death by a tiger. I would have rather see this guy ripped to shreds by a pissed off tiger. But instead, he's in prison where he belongs. In fact, it's a shame he's not in Texas. They could just execute him and be done with it. I wanted to cover that, and it pisses me off that during this whole pandemic, back to the press conference thing, which aggravates me enough, because it's just like, you can't go anywhere. You can't go to any stores, except if the store is a Wal and a Mart and a Target and a dollar store. Or a pharmacy. You can't, or a grocery store. You can't go to a bookstore. You can't go to a comic book store. You're just stuck in between this circle of going to fucking stores that doesn't appeal to you. And instead of talking about the possibility of reopening stores and businesses, Donald Trump instead decided to talk about the Tiger King. And I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you, dude. I mean, it wasn't Trump's fault. It was really the press conference. The reporter who asked this question, like, did you see the documentary of the Tiger King? Are you gonna pardon, Joe Exotic? And Trump just sat there because Trump's son tweeted about it, and I think it was a joke. Because people were tweeting at him like, get your dad to pardon him. Free Joe Exotic. And it's just like, I think Donald Trump Jr. just decided to make a joke about it. But instead, these reporters took it as serious and instead go like, are you going to... At that point, if I was the president, and thank God I'm not, because I would be, impeached. If someone asked during this entire pandemic of things that is happening in the world, and you ask the question of, are you going to pardon this criminal who murdered tigers and killed tiger cubs and had one, stuffed by a taxidermist? At that point, I would be like, you leave. That'd be it. Get out. But instead, it's just like, instead of like in this entire pandemic where people are scared shitless, you're talking about a documentary on Netflix that nobody watches. Except idiot celebrities. So anyway, back to the Batman film. Randolph said she was told by sources that she didn't want to reveal because it was revealed that reveal her source's identity. Somebody else reported it. Blah 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 blah. She revealed that the Batman is set in the present day. So since the Batman is set in the present day, Randolph says, which means it is not connected to the Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie, which is set in the 1980s. She also revealed that Batman will not be connected to Batgirl. Randolph said that she's provided information in the casting of sees the part of Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara, who's Commissioner part of Commissioner Gordon. Batgirl, Barbara Gordon's father, has been opened. Grace questioned her. Says that when she questioned her source about the source about the Batman and Jeffrey Wright's Gordon in relation to Batgirl, why isn't Jeffrey Wright playing Gordon and Batgirl? Her source says it's because the Batman is in its own thing, much like the Joker. Randolph also revealed that Warner Brothers is looking for an actress around 20 to 30 years old to play Batgirl. shit. This is stupid. They're looking for an actress who is 25 to 30. So she's not going to be Batgirl. She's just going to be a Batgirl woman. This is like the stupidest thing I've ever read. It's like, why don't you just cast a teenage actress to play Batgirl? Why are you looking for someone who's going to be 25 to 30? Okay, if you cast somebody who's going to be 30 and you're going to do the Batgirl too, that actress is going to be close to mid 30s, almost into early 40s. Why are you doing this? Unless Batgirl Barbara Gordon is Oracle by that point, then by all means go ahead. But casting somebody who's going to be, in 25 to 30 is stupid. It's like casting Spider-Man with, I wasn't the biggest Tom Holland fan, but, when I look at him, I'm just like, that dude, I cannot believe that dude's Spider-Man. I just have no belief whatsoever. It's kind of like, at that point, I am not in favor of this stupidity of it. I am not in favor of casting, an actress who's going to play Batgirl at 2030. Like, I'm not in favor of it. Do I think that do I think they should connect, do a Batgirl, have the Batgirl and Batman movie connected as like in a universe? Absolutely. I think that's how they should go with it. I am not in favor of like separating the universes and stuff, because it's just I don't want to sound like a jerk, but they're sort of going back to the Nolan base, which I know a lot of people are going to be like in favor of it, because Nolan had his Batman films in its own universe. I think honestly when they do that, it's kind of, it separates everything. It doesn't like really add anything else to it. I still think they should include Pattinson's Batman into the DCEU, because I would love to see Batman and the Flash interact, Superman and Batman interact, and stuff. And I honestly think like separating them is not that not that great, because I would love to see Henry Cavill's Batman, Henry Cavill's Superman interact with Pattinson's Batman. Fun fact: Henry Cavill did try to audition for Batman when Batman Begins happened. He didn't get the part, but he would have been a great Batman. But I remember somebody posted a photo of him auditioning for Superman, which became Superman Returns, and he looked like Superman. He looked believable as Superman. Instead, they cast Brandon Routh. But for me, I still would love to see Cavill's Superman interact with Pattinson's Batman. It would be great, because you see them sort of like interact for the first time, because you've never seen the two actors in the film, two actors in a film before, together in a film. So for me, it disappoints me that they aren't going with that route. Instead, they're going to cut off Batman from the DCEU and keep him in his own turf, which it isn't a problem, as a fan of Batman, because Batman, when they put him in the, Justice League and all that, they completely degraded the character, making him, the jokester of it. It's just like him asking Aquaman, "Do you actually talk to fish?" was stupid. was dumb. That's something that Barry Allen would ask. It's just like, why didn't you let Ezra Miller ask that question? You know, it aggravates me. So, Comic-Con last summer, that Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's Batman will be involved in, a soft reboot of the DCEU. However, that doesn't seem necessary. That means Batman won't be a standalone, as the flick and the character will simply be connected to other films in later dates. So Randolph's sources was maybe essentially correct. So they might have him sort of pop in and pop out. So let's get to this one. Geoff Johns movie news. Geoff Johns screwed over Zack Snyder on Justice League. We'll get to the Batman Year One script. I'm saving the best for last because my brain cells are needed for this discussion. It's claimed that Geoff Johns screwed over Zack Snyder on Justice League movie in regards of bringing on board Joss Whedon to direct. More info comes from Grace Randolph, who reported about the Batgirl movie that's happening, which has John's involved as producer. Expectedly, Geoff Johns is still one of the producers on the movie. He is listed first, of course. Even widely disliked at Warner Brothers. In fact, I can tell you Johns is pretty much the one who was responsible for Zack Snyder being replaced by Joss Whedon. He did it behind his back, which we kind of all knew. I'll say this, Johns made people wait almost 2 fucking years for Doomsday Clock to be done, and made people wait 5 years for the 3 Jokers. And that's my TV going, by the way. Geoff Johns is like, he's one of the, he's doing Stargirl, which is coming out. He's involved in every DC show as producer except for Harley Quinn. He's not involved in the Harley Quinn show. It's basically a whole different group of people, and he's not involved with Young Justice. He's involved in a lot of mostly DC live action shows. He's not involved in much in animation. And it doesn't surprise me that he possibly did that to Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's Justice League film, it's always the question of what could have been. What would happen in part 2? And that's the thing about it. It's just anytime I watch the Dawn of Justice League, it always bothers me. What could have been? What should have been? And I think that's what, for me as a fan of storytelling, just bothers me. It's just the story is unfinished. There's nothing left to be talked about or told anymore. And I think that's what bothers a lot of people with the, who are part of the release of Snyder Cut campaign. It's just that they love the story and now it's not done. And being a fan of Ben Affleck, Zack Snyder, it still bothers me that Affleck's not playing Batman anymore. And the story that was talked about, his Batman film, that Jay Olivia, who did the storyboard art, called it one of the greatest Batman scripts probably ever written. That it's so enriched, but a lot of the characters from Batman are in it. And that's the sad part about it. What could have been? For me, it's always going to be that question of what if, what could have been. And For Justice League, it's the same way. Like, I wanted to see what could have happened in it. And hearing so many stories of Darkseid being in it, and possibly like a sort of like a light, Injustice light type story with evil Superman and Batman leading his group against Superman's army and all that. Like, that could have been so fucking awesome. That would have been so awesome just to like see that. And still, like, I seen a lot of films that came out in theaters. I never got to see the Nolan Batman films, sadly. But Dawn of Justice is like one of the best films I've ever seen in theaters. As a comic book nerd, I seen Avengers in theaters. I seen Avengers Age of Ultron, which I ask myself, like, how did I not lose sanity? Because James Spader, who played Ultron, is one of the great actors. Like, if there's any actor that I think should play Brainiac, James Spader is that dude. And that is my phone going off for no reason. James Spader is like one of those actors that I think if they ever cast Brainiac, he should be that guy. He should be the guy to play Brainiac. Because if you ever like watch the show Blacklist, or if you ever watch like a clip of the show Blacklist, or even in Ultron, like you hear him talk, he has that like Brainiac tone in his voice. He has like, he could be so convincing, but at the same time he could be so deadly. And if you ever watched The Office, he was in The Office, he played Robert California, who replaced Michael Scott. And he, like, I don't want to sound like a jerk, as much as I love The Office, but he was I don't want to say like out of touch, but he is so out of place. That's what it is, out of place in the show. Like, you have a serious, dramatic actor and a comedy, and you just sort of sit there and you're like, does this even work? And he made it work, oddly enough. He made a lot of people, like, the way he talks, the way he looks at people, very uncomfortable. And that was like the best part of the show, like watching him make everybody squirm and be sort of uncomfortable, except Dwight, out of all people. He didn't even intimidate Dwight. Dwight just sort of had that look of like, listen, I've dealt with this motherfucker who put a stapler in Jell-O. You don't intimidate me. It was just so funny. And if there was ever an actor who I think could play Brainiac and pull it off, it's James Spader. Like, I can't think of any other actor, in my opinion. I mean, hell, James Spader could play Lex Luthor and make it look good. But honestly, I think like the best actor they ever got was Kevin Spacey and Gene Hackman. I know there's some people going to be like writing Michael Rosenbaum. But Spacey just it bothers me with Superman Returns that they took away the potential what also could have been with Spacey. Like, Spacey could have played like this deadly evil president Lex Luthor, but instead he's the Midwestern huckster, and it's all about land, Miss Lane. Land. That's what always bothers me. And when they finally made Lex Luthor deadly, they just made him like this Riddler type. Jesse Eisenberg should have played Riddler. He should have never played Lex. I'm sorry. A lot of people liked him as Lex. He should have played Riddler. Had that goofy Jim Carrey Riddler type. Anyway, Jeff Johns is pretty much disliked by everybody. People also heard Jim Lee is beloved. Of course, everyone loves Jim Lee. And by the way, did anybody see on eBay the Batman Catwoman drawing that he did went for 10 grand. Fuck, man. 10 grand. So he's great. Jim Lee is beloved, so he's great. But Geoff Johns was banished from Birds of Prey, and he was the head of the DC for a hot minute, then allowed him to do that to Zack Snyder. So apparently he was banished from Birds of Prey after what happened with, Zack Snyder, I guess. But everybody hated him, and he got banished to the DCEU streaming service. And maybe he will redeem himself with Stargirl, which I hear is a massive delay because I hear he doesn't know how to be a showrunner. But it's coming. Maybe it will turn out great. Even Stargirl doesn't work. He still has Girl. Yeah, I've heard Stargirl got delayed. It was supposed to be on It's supposed to be on CW, and it was going to be on both DC Universe streaming service and CW. But I honestly think they should get Jeff Loeb to be in charge of TV for DC, or if there's anybody who I think could really take the DC Universe streaming app and make it something big and great and make it worldwide, it would be Jeff Loeb. Honestly, look what he did with a lot of the shows for Marvel. He was in charge of the Marvel shows, man. He was involved with Daredevil, Punisher, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, which I actually like Iron Fist. A lot of people hated it because a lot of people said it was racist. Fucking idiots. Jessica Jones. I couldn't sit through Jessica Jones. I'm sorry. I know there's some people who love that show, but I couldn't sit through it. I couldn't. I only watched it because David Tennant was in it, and David Tennant is one of my favorite actors. One of my favorite doctors on Doctor Who, and David Tennant plays such a scary looking dude. If there was anybody if there's anybody who I always thought could play Joker for a DC Universe film, it would be David Tennant. He could play Joker. He's on the list of Riddler, but man, he could if they could cast him as the Joker for the Robert Pattinson Batman film, it has a lot of potential. Because he could play this kooky, off-the-wall character, but also be scary and deadly. And that's the Joker. The Joker is this... how do I put it? He's this ball of energy that's uncontrollable, bouncing off the walls and doing all these crazy... schemes and murders and all that, and he always has to put a punchline into killing somebody, a killing joke. And David Tennant could do that. If you watch him on Jessica Jones or Doctor Who, he has this look like Jessica Jones. He could be lighthearted and funny, but also has to be in control. And the Joker is sort of that way. The Joker has to be in control of things. He has to control everybody around him. He has to control the environment, but also make it chaos. And David Tennant just could do it. He could do it. And I think with Riddler they cast the right actor to play Riddler. Paul Dano. And I can't wait to see what Paul Dano does with with Riddler. I think he could make the Riddler work. Cuz I'm not knocking Jim Carrey or anything. The guy in Gotham made it perfect. I wish they would have done a little bit more with him. I wish they didn't. The thing that kind of bothers me with Gotham is they had to always have Riddler and Penguin attached at the hip to each other, and they couldn't let these two guys form their own legacy. They always had to be attached at the hip, and that always bothered me. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Penguin would give two shits about what Riddler's doing. In my opinion, I think Penguin would be more about himself than about, oh, what is Edward thinking, type of thing. And that always bothered me. And I love the two guys who played Penguin and Riddler. They did an amazing job with these characters. They built them from the beginning, and show how their legacy became a legend and stuff. And the guy who played Penguin, in my opinion, is better than Colin Farrell. They got to play Penguin. And for me, I wish that the dude who played Penguin in Gotham could play Penguin in the Batman film. But Gotham is, I would say this, Gotham is his own entity, and that's a great thing about the show. And I love where they filmed it. They made New York look like, well, they captured the picture of what New York is. Everybody's always talking about coronavirus, New York, being affected by it. It's no, Gotham showed you what was happening. The streets there are dirty. You need to clean. But for me, I look forward to seeing Pattinson's Batman. I wish they'd bring back Gotham for a comic book or a TV series for streaming service like HBO Max. And the Ben Affleck Batman film, man, that is going to be kind of the sad what if moment. They got J.K. Simmons is no longer going to play Gordon. Now he's back in the Marvel Universe as J. Jonah Jameson, and the guy who played Alfred, man, man, I forget his name. He was in Watchmen. And he was in one show I couldn't stand. I watched it once and it was just the stupidest show. I want to say his name because if I don't, it's just going to bother me. Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons. He was in Die Hard as Han. There's an amazing thing about it. Jeremy Irons was in Die Hard with a Vengeance. It was the last Die Hard movie before they sucked. I can't say anything bad about it. It's just, But, he was in Die Hard with a Vengeance as Simon Gruber, who was Hans Gruber's brother. And Hans Gruber was played by the brilliant late great Alan Rickman, and which was Alan Rickman stole the show in Die Hard. If there was any actor, I will say this to the end times. If there was one actor who should have played Magneto in the X-Men films, it's Alan Rickman. I will say that to the end of times, because Alan Rickman should have played Magneto, because that dude has a voice. Like if you ever hear him talk in a movie, if you ever heard his voice, like anytime I remember like watching Harry Potter during the beginning of the lockdown, being stuck in the house, and I remember just sitting there going, like, hearing him talk, I was just like, this dude could have played Magneto. And I love X-Men. I am, like, if there's like one Marvel comics I do enjoy, is X-Men. I love, especially the cartoon, the 90s X-Men cartoon, which is now on Disney Plus. Still not getting Disney Plus, I'm sorry. Can't afford another streaming bill, okay? I got Netflix, which, by the way, I did watch a show on Netflix, which I enjoyed. The Big Show, which is actually a really good show, by the way. It's, I think, 8 episodes. It's on part 1, so I think part 2 is going to be out, I assume, later this year. I guess. I don't know. Who the hell knows? But, anyway, I will never get another streaming bill. I got Boomerang, I got DC Universe, the new Harley Quinn episode's out. I did not get to watch that yet. And I have Netflix. So I can watch Trailer Park Boys, The Big Show, which is actually, again, a really good show. It's like a classic, like The Cosby Show, except you have a 7-foot-tall giant. And I forget what other shows. I forget what other stuff they added on there. I know Daredevil's supposedly leaving Netflix by November, so who knows. But hold on, Lilo's gonna start barking at the neighbor dog. Alright, I'm here. So, anyway, I got a glass of orange juice. Drinking it out of my Flash cup. For those who don't know, I am also a fan of the Flash, which I admit I did watch DC Superhero Girls. I'm still waiting for. Welcome back. Thank you, love. I'm still waiting for Batman to show up. Actually, show up, interact with people, and do that. But anyway, yeah, Anyway, let's continue reading about, Geoff Johns, who apparently is not very well liked. It is claimed that Geoff Johns is not very well liked at Warner Brothers. This isn't the first time Geoff Johns' name came up within the industry as controversial. It's the first time it's connected with Zack Snyder. Back when the Joker movie was released, former co-president of DC Entertainment, Diana Neilson, was called out by fans for defending the violence in Joker movie, but not defending the DCEU Zack Snyder films. A fan actually mentioned that Neilson was too busy helping her buddy Geoff Johns destroying Zack Snyder's work from the inside. But Neilson tweeted back saying, he's not a buddy of mine, meaning Johns. Neilson actually resigned from DC in 2018, which saw Geoff Johns also resign 2 weeks later from his position as co-president and chief creative officer of DC Comics, DC Entertainment. It has also been reported that WB executives interfered with Zack Snyder's plans and his vision for the DCEU, which one of them appears to be Geoff Johns. Regarding why Johns is still involved in DC movies is probably because his contract with DC and the characters, which sees Johns as producer. We can also probably guess the reason Geoff Johns' Green Lantern Corps movie hasn't come about is because of all the inside turmoil. Probably why J.J. Abrams was brought in along, as well as Matt Reeves and James Gunn. Here's what Diana Neilson's Twitter exchange. In September 2018, Neilson, in defense of Joker and its repulsive violence. One person wrote, "You couldn't defend Zack's movies and whatever little darkness there was. Busy playing politics then. But I guess dark violence is cool. Hashtag release this cut. Too busy helping her buddy Jeff destroy his work from the inside. Neilson, he's no buddy of mine." I like that little jab, which is actually pretty funny. So, well, we can't hold back any longer. We have to go read the Batman Year One script. Let's get to that. Oh boy. Okay, last time we reread Chi-Chi gives the yellow envelope through the window to Flash. Flash flips through the bills and says, "If this is it, Flower Power." Alright, let's read it. "This is it, Flower Power," Flash said. "He looks kind of like to me. Chi-Chi." I got a headache just reading that name. "It's the same as last week," Chi-Chi said. Flash, "Yeah, well, you seem to be doing pretty good for yourself. Maybe it's time we talk to Estrada. Reevaluate our arrangement. Campbell, or maybe Selena can throw in a little dark meat to make up the balance. How about that?" Sorry. Just kind of gross. Chi-Chi, "Yeah, sure. Selena, get over here." Selena reluctantly approaches the car. Chi-Chi, "Give Detective Campbell a date on the house." Campbell, you can put away the toys, sweet thing. I'll show you how a real man does it." Oh, good lord. I can see why this script was not made. This is like something out of the 70s. This is like god-awful like 70s crime thriller type movie, like Taxi Driver. Selena, "Forget it. You're not coming anywhere near me." She turns away, but Chi-Chi grabs her arm. Flash laughs. Classic. One can't get his whore to screw. The other can't get screwed by a whore. Flash pulls away. Flash, we don't have time for this. Got to keep moving. More pickups to make before quitting time. Ta-ta, ladies. Flash waves his beer can farewell as he drives off. This is like one god-awful script. I should have read the Flash movie script. But this is like one of those awful movie scripts. Now, do I believe Frank Miller wrote this? I don't know. But it is just awful. Like, Chi-Chi. What the hell was that? You made me look bad. I got a rep to maintain. I look weak, then scumbag, crooked cops take advantage. Tried to push me around. Selena, you know the rules. Nothing for free. Selena jerks her arm free and storms off, but Chi-Chi grabs her again, spins her around. Chi-Chi. Well, maybe it's time we reevaluate the rules. Suddenly, Chi-Chi is aware that Bruce stands very close, glaring at the pimp. Pure, unholy hatred. Chi-Chi. What the fuck do you want, retard? Chi-Chi pulls out a switchblade. Selena to Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi sounds like something out of like a Sanford and Son character. Like a Chinese man. Chi-Chi. Again, another Sanford and Son reference. Well, I don't know why. This script just makes me think of Sanford and Son. This is like the second time I made a reference to Sanford and Son. Selena to Chi-Chi. Leave him alone. Chi-Chi backhands her across the mouth. Bruce, obviously, to the knife, moves and takes it out of Chi-Chi, but Selena catches Bruce's eye without saying a word, tells him, let it go. Bruce just turns and walks away. An obedient soldier. Chi-Chi, that's what I thought, wimp. Selena watches Bruce march back into interior Al's garage. Moments later, Bruce kicks open the door, flings the groceries everywhere, punches a plastered wall. I know, right? Like, somehow in my mind, I'm imagining Chi-Chi as like this Asian pimp wearing clothes out of the 70s. I don't know why, but I do. I imagine him like this 70s Asian pimp. You know. That is the scariest thing. Like, I just imagine this. I mean, at least I'm diversitying it, you know. Look at it that way, folks. I'm not being racist. I'm just like, you know, a name like Chi-Chi, I immediately think of, you know, an Asian, you know, pimp wearing 70s clothes. Bruce, voiceover, September 17th. Father, it takes everything I have just to contain this fury. I can tell it in my chest. It wants to escape. I'm afraid of what I might do. Little Al is in the doorway. Little Al, what the hell's going on in here? You okay? Bruce, I'm fine. He sounds like my niece. Like, anytime I message my second oldest niece, what up? Nothing. You good? I'm fine. And all of a sudden she'll send a text message. It's like something. It's like a letter that the Zodiac killer wrote, and you have to decrypt and decode what the hell she is saying. Like I made a joke about it. And I was just like laughing hysterically about it. Like, you know, like this is like I was like, just give the phone to your mom. I was just like, read what she wrote. My sister read it. She goes, yeah, this is what she said. I'm like, I don't understand what the hell she is saying. If she's been watching Zodiac or reading the book Zodiac, because I don't have time to Indiana Jones this text message by cracking the code. Does she need anything from the store? Medicine. That's all I'm asking. Yeah. So, Bruce tries to push past Little Al out of the garage, but Little Al grabs his wrist. Little Al, Bruce, what do you want? Little Al, don't you give me lip, boy. I know what you're going through. You can't hide it from me. Bruce, you don't know anything. Bruce sounds like a whiny teenager at that moment. This is just bad. And Miller wrote a lot of... And Miller wrote The Dark Knight Returns, Sin City, 300. He apparently, supposedly wrote this. Little Al, come on. I got something for you. Little Al pushes aside his workbench, digs out a key and opens a dirty, disused door. Bruce, your father's office? Little Al says nothing. The two men go inside. Interior, Big Al's garage. Day. It's like a tomb. Dusty, unused, preserved. Little Al sits at the desk. Starts to open drawers. Little Al, without looking. Sit down, Bruce. Bruce sits down in a dusty chair. Little Al finds what he's looking for. A shoebox. He turns it to Bruce. Little Al, you know, Bruce, Big Al worked hard. Put me through med school. Apparently, Little Al is now a medic or something. Didn't know that. They should have mentioned it. He dreamed about giving me more than that garage. He never said a word. He never said a word after the war. Little Al continues. He understood what happens to a man who's seen too much of this world's evil. Do you know what I'm talking about, Bruce? I sure as hell don't. Bruce nods. Little Al, while we found you in a scrap pile, you were scared, more of a wild animal than a boy. Really? And you had something with you. Do you remember that? Bruce says yes with his eyes. Well, you wouldn't let go of it. Took Big Al 3 months to even get a look at it. You cried for weeks. When he took it from you, he said you weren't ready to have it. You called it an inheritance. You called it your inheritance. It's a shame that the guy who played... It's actually funny, though. Bruce is fighting over a ring, and now Gollum is playing Alfred in the new Batman movie. Gollum. Precious. Little Al puts his hand on Bruce's shoulder. When Big Al was up in that hospital, he asked me to watch over you. Made me promise. And I have. You're like my boy, Bruce. Little Al gives Bruce a shoulder a squeeze. But now, you're scaring me. There's something going on in your mind. Well, I can't say I know exactly what it is. I can tell you this. A man has got to know who he is before he confronts his demons. Little Al opens the shoebox and removes a small wooden box with a heavy brass latch. Little Al, maybe your inheritance can help you figure it out. Little Al places the wooden box on Bruce's knee. Bruce stares at it. Not yet, huh? I understand. Little Al says. Little Al stands up, waits for a moment. Bruce stands, then walks back into interior Little Al's garage moments later. Little Al locks the door behind them. Oh, the script is kind of boring so far. Little Al, you can take all the time you want. It's late. I'm going home. I hope you can find some comfort in this. Bruce, sleep well. Little Al leaves. Bruce is staring at the wooden box. Bruce's apartment night. Bruce writes another letter. Dear God. September 22nd. Dear Father, I almost slipped today. God help me. If I lose control, Little Al gave me back my inheritance. What should I do with it? Please tell me. It sounds like a serial killer when he writes. I don't know how much longer I can go without your help. Please send instructions. Your loving son, Bruce. This is like a serial killer. I mean, shit. I'm reading this. I'm kind of freaked out. This is like a serial killer writing. You know that? I don't know what I'm thinking about reading this. I'm just sort of like, in my mind, I'm like, this is like a serial killer. Bruce signs the letter, puts it in an envelope, puts a stamp on the envelope. Please don't tell me he sends it off to the post office. I'm just like, whoa. Bruce gets ready for bed, turns in. He doesn't sleep. He just stares at the wooden box from his bed. Yeah, who puts a stamp on a letter and just, like, I'm not mailing this. I just wrote it. Like, where is... This is like the weirdest script I have ever read. And I read a lot of Frank Miller stories. But that makes no sense. He signs a letter. I assume Thomas Wayne Manor, Gotham City, and then puts a stamp on it and be like, should I mail this or not? I don't know. I'll just put in a... None of this makes any sense whatsoever. See, even my phone agrees. Bruce gets ready for bed. He doesn't sleep. He just stares at the wooden box from his bed. Interior, Selena's apartment. Night. Selena's apartment is painted to look like a dungeon. Oh, okay. The tools of her trade line the walls. Whips, cuffs, cricket bat for spanking, cat lounge, all over the place. Sounds like heaven. Holly So I couldn't believe I just made that joke. So anyway. And I'm not taking that joke back. I'm standing by that comment. Holly sits cross-legged in a electric chair. She paints her toenails as she watches Selena pace the cramped room. Where the hell did she get an electric chair? That is the first question I like to know. Where did she get an electric chair? I kind of want to know. That's what I'm more interested in. Is like, where did she get that chair? It sounds like a Frankenstein chair. Selena, there has to be more to it than this. Holly, this what? Selena, life. Jesus. There has got to be more than just pimps and johns. We spend our lives on our backs, shuttling money from one to the other for what? Holly, I don't know. What? Holly is a dumbass. Selena, nothing. Don't you see we're being used? We're stuck here for all our work. We have nothing while they're getting rich. I am sick of it. I'm not going to take it anymore. Holly, what are you going to do? Run off? Marry a John? Holly is a fucking moron. This Holly is a regular Jessica Simpson, I tell you what. She's just an airhead. Selena, ha. Have you seen the guys who come here for my service? Shit. What I gotta give to meet a real man? A Batman. Holly, rising. Gotta go. My 10:30 should be here. At the door. You know, maybe there are no real men. Maybe the whole world is just pimps and johns. Ever think of that? Holly leaves. Selena, to self. Then I'll go find my own way out. She closes her door as we cut to a magnificent theater night. Oh God, we're getting a flashback. Ah, boy. We are on the steps of the magical old world movie palace. It's bright, clean, hyper real, a dream. Speaking of movie theaters, recently I read that I gotta find it. I read that AMC Theater is furlough their employees and possibly closing down, which isn't really a surprise because people can't go anywhere, can't go to movies, can't go. It's so weird though. Like the only things that's left is like open is like Walmart stores, Dollar General, Target, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Dollar General. And the thing that's so weird is all the places open are stuff that's on stocked on shelves. Isn't it weird? Like, I mean, you could catch coronavirus from walking into a Walmart. And that's like the one that makes no sense anymore is all these stores are open, and you can't go to like a bookstore, or you can't go anywhere. And that's the weird thing about it. Like, that's the thing that bothers me, you know. So anyway, it's sad that like a movie theater like AMC is closing, and the worst thing about it is like their employees don't have a job anymore. They're now unemployed, and that to me just bothers me the most. Is like, is all these places are closing down, and it's just like nobody cares anymore. Like, I would love to go back to my, you know, comic book store, half price books, buy new books and stuff. Like, I'm still waiting for the book I ordered, Batman Tales Once Upon a Crime, which finally got out of California. Hopefully by the end of today, it'll be somewhere in the Midwest or somewhere. But usually for me, like, the coronavirus kind of disrupts the show, because I buy new books and I review them and I talk about them, and, you know, I also do my back-to-the-back issues and stuff, and I love buying comics and talking about it and stuff. And now, like, rumors are going around that Walmart will be telling you what you can and can't buy. You know, you can't buy non-essential items. You have to buy essential items only. And for me, it's just like, you can go fuck yourselves. Like, I like buying comics and shit. Like, I like buying that stuff. That's what makes me happy. I don't want to sit inside my fucking house like Jack Nicholson and The Shining, go insane. You know, like, I need entertainment. And, you know, I hooked up a Blu-ray player out in the living room watching DVDs, because there's like nothing on TV anymore, nothing on YouTube and stuff. You know, and it's sad though, and I think that pretty soon people are going to go batshit crazy. I mean, they already have in California. Like, they're calling cops on their neighbors and stuff. Like, there was like people who, I think it was like last week or so, like last week or so. It's like, it's hard to tell, because it's like every day feels like a month. You're trapped in your house. You don't know what day it is. And I remember driving up to Walmart, because the stores here in town I live near are closed. So you have to like go to fucking Walmart to like buy shit, which I hate. I hate Walmart. So we had to go to fucking Walmart, and I remember I pulled in a store parking lot, and I seen these groups of people, not a group of people, but I assume like elderly, you know, people sitting in their lawn chairs in a circle. They were keeping their distance, and they were just talking. They were chatting, talking, and I was just like, you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Good for them, because it's just like, you know, you took away the Denny's, you took away the park, you took away everything that you even took away their home, basically, where they can't have friends or family to visit. So, you know what? Good for them. They're not bothering anybody. And the next thing you know, like, I got out of the store, not out of the store, but out of the car, and I heard someone go like, I'm going to call the police on those people. They should not be doing that. And it bugged the fuck out of me, because it's just like, you are a snitch. You are an Al Sharpton. You are a fucking snitch. Snitches get stitches. You know, you're just, and it's just like everybody's becoming an Al Sharpton of the world. They're fucking snitching on people. So, yeah, good for them. If you're going to go out, you're going to hang out with your friends, you know, while keeping your social distance, good for you. Good for you. You're You're not doing anything to anybody. You're just you're continuing your life, and I hate that now. Like, I hate that, especially here in my country. For those who are listening outside of the U.S., everybody's going fucking crazy. Everybody's snitching on people in California. I was even asked by my dad, like, do you want to go to California after this thing's over? I was like, hell no. I ain't going to California. It was a joke my dad was making, because he was laughing at how California's gone crazy, and I don't like crazy. I'm just like, if this thing's over, I'll be thrilled, and I'll be happy when this shit is finally over. Because I find it irritatingly annoying that you're stuck in your house. You're stuck, somewhere. You can't go anywhere. You can't go to the bookstores. You can't go anywhere to find entertainment. You're basically held captive in your home. And if I would say this, if they extend this mandatory thing, I see that people are going to protest. They're going to riot against the government and higher power people. That's what I see happening. People are going to do that. I see it. Like, I know some people are like, you're going Alex Jones conspiracy theory. It's just like, no, that's just human nature. People are not wanting to be controlled by a politician, by a corporation, by a higher power. People are going to rebel against against government. And that's the way it should be. And the thing is, I am not going to vote in 2020. I am not going to vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. This would be like the second time I'm voting. I know a lot of people accuse me of like, you voted for Trump. It's just like, no, I didn't vote for Trump or Hillary. Either way, we were screwed. We went with the reality show host instead of the crazy ass politician, former first lady. That's what happened. So, anyway, we will continue. We're at the part where the theater thing. We'll continue to Monday, because tomorrow's the weekend and I have no show. I know I heard like one thing that's interesting, that the stimulus people are getting paid to sit at home by the stimulus package. Supposedly it's going to be Monday. People will be getting it Monday or the 15th. I don't know if it's true. It'd be cool though Monday if I woke up and there's like money in the account in my bank. I'd be like, shit. Stock up on shit again, like water. Yeah, it'd be cool though. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's true though. I don't know. Like, I've been hearing it on the news and stuff, and like if I woke up and there's like $1,000 in my account, I'd be like, shit. And then I'd be like crying, I'd be like, I can't go to the bookstore. Like I see the cool badass Batman the Animated Series statue and I can't even buy it. Like, that would be me. Like, I would be like crying. Like, if I saw $1,000, I'd be like, I can't even buy the Batman statue. But it's at the bookstore and they're locked down. Like, I'd be like crying because it's like the Batman the Animated Series statue thing, and I'm just like, I'd be like crying. I'd be like, well, enough money there, I could buy a new Batman cosplay costume if I wanted to. But but like, for me, like, I like the one I have now, which is like the Dawn of Justice one. I need a cowl though, when I think about it.
But, I need it. But I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to go crazy. Like, some people are, like, going crazy. Like, they're talking about, like, saving the money to buy, like, the new Xbox and PlayStation console. For me, I'm putting that money back. Like, that's what I'm doing. I am, like, if, when I get it, I am putting it back. I'm going to take a small portion. I'm going to put, like, the big chunk back and take the small portion and go buy groceries and, essentials. Just, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I need to survive. I'm not like Rick in The Walking Dead where I'm a dumbass and start trouble with people. I'm not like that. I wouldn't do that, So, anyway, it was a pretty interesting episode we're doing. To wrap it up, we recorded in the kitchen. I'm at my kitchen table, looking around the living room. Stitch is asleep on the couch, along with Lola, who is snuggled up to Lilo. So it's kind of a special episode. I usually record it in my office/bedroom where I do the show, and today I felt like if I'm gonna do the show, I might as well sit at a table, the kitchen table. Usually Lola's like sprawled out on the table, asleep on the kitchen table, looking like she had a party. And for me, it was pretty fun to do the show. Anyway, one thing that's also interesting, like I wanted to point out this one. I'm also looking at the TV. DC Superhero Girls is still on. So anyway, it was a fun thing to like record the show out in the kitchen area, but one thing I kind of one thing I sort of laughed at recently, one thing I laughed at, which was pretty funny, was it was on the news. Hold on, time out. I'm reading the oh, this one's pretty cool. Alright, I want to read this story. I'm on Phantoms and Monsters. Is it alright if I read the story real quick? This is pretty cool. A golem humanoid kills chickens in a rural Missouri area. I gotta read this story because this is like close to home. A Missouri boy and his family deals with a golem like humanoid who continually killing chickens. The following account was recently forwarded to me. I grew up in rural Missouri. So did I. My family moved there in 1985. I wasn't even born then. When I was young. About 20 minutes away from the closest town with the closest town being Wright, Missouri. Never been there, by the way. About 15 minutes north. Where is Wright, Missouri at? I don't even know where that's at. It really was in the middle of nowhere. Never mind, I don't want to go. You had to drive a mile or two down one gravel road. Before you got to the gravel road I lived down was a mile and a half long that my family and our neighbors lived on. See, if you're confused as shit by that, that's how people where I live talk. If you are confused as shit by that statement, that is how we talk. It's like if you ask for direction, well, you take that one road here and you turn right, and you keep going north for about 10 minutes. you turn left, and you keep going north, and you turn right. Then it's right there on the right. You won't miss it. There's like this barn and this house there. It's right there. That's how people where I live fucking talk. And I'm just like, thank God for GPS. That's how we talk. And I'm just like, thank you, God, for GPS. If not, then you will get like directions from Big Lenny telling you where to go. So if you're confused by that, that's how everybody talks where I live. And even for me, I'm just like, how did you graduate high school? I love you more. And so I'm just that for me is just like how we talk. And I seen, like, for example, my oldest niece graduated, and the person that was given the speech, the person that was given like the first speech and all that, was the English teacher, and I couldn't understand what he was saying. You know, like making a joke, like, like the word mayonnaise is always a simple word. Mayonnaise, there's a lot of people here at this graduation. I'm just sitting there going like, did this motherfucker just use the word mayonnaise just, as to say like mayonnaise, there's a lot of people here. So, yeah. And of course, he'd be like, then I said to young Zachary here, the word witchy did you? You didn't bring your speech, witchy did you? That one I admit I laughed at. Didn't bring your speech, witchy did you? So, anyway, there was about 3,000 to 4,000 acres north of us. No one lived on and about 1,000 acres south of us. There was south of us that no one lived on. This dude needs to go back to school and learn English. It was all owned by the same guy who came out during deer season. It's deer hunting season. Deer season to hunt. The property was south of us and lived in the town about 20 miles west. My head hurts by reading this. On the land north of us was mostly an incredibly hilly forest. And about a mile north of us, north of a house, on the land south of us was 50-50 woods. I am not making this up. This is what he wrote. The land south of us was about 50-50 woods to the fields, with an 100-plus-year-old house, abandoned cabin, deep into the woods. Thank God. News article popped up, Matt Reeves giving an update on the Batman film. Anyway, director Matt Reeves offers an update on the Batman movie, which was filming in the UK, but has seen production halted because of the coronavirus. In an interview with Deadline, Reeves offered an update on the movie, with noting that Reeves safely waiting until production can resume. We are not officially editing right now, said Reeves. We actually shot a quarter of the movie, and I've been pouring through the dailies, looking at takes of what's to come. Regarding filming can restart. Unfortunately, just like everyone else out there, Reeves doesn't know when the coronavirus will enable him to resume filming. It's way too early to say, Reeves said. And about possibly not able to finish filming of the Batman in the UK. I can't imagine we wouldn't finish in London. The situation is fluid. Okay. Deadline question Reeves about the flick borrowing from one of his favorite Batman stories, Batman Year One, or if it features Robin. I can't give you any answers to any of that, said Reeves. But he did offer a tease and said he has no plans to rewrite the story. It took me 2 years to work on that story. Yeah, we all waited, dude. And it's a specific mystery noir that really throughout by me and my partners. While the script won't be getting a rewrite, Reeves admitted that he's open to changing the tone of various things as he looks over the footage. I do like the noir part. I love the photo of the Batmobile. It's a very killer-looking Batmobile. So, I can't wait for the Lego Batmobile one. So anyway, 50/50 Woods, the abandoned cabin deep into the woods. The wagon road to it had grown up. The property owner told us that no one has lived there since the 1800s. I had a few sightings while growing up there. I had always told myself it was Momo. That's right. For those who don't know where we live in Missouri, there is our own Bigfoot known as Momo. Nobody messes with Momo, because Momo will fuck you up. It makes me think of the movie Get Shorty. Momo. I always tell myself it was Momo, the Missouri monster. Missouri's version of Bigfoot. Wasn't until I saw a trail camera photo of what was said to be the forest ghoul several years later. This leads me to do a little more research. Yeah, so, I mean, no one hasn't seen Momo in a while. We all assume that he probably retired and started a family and doesn't bother anybody. So, it's a shame though. I mean, hopefully one day Momo legacy will, resume. Maybe he's, grand Bigfoot, little Momo will take over the business and be the Momo for a while. I don't know. I'm just making jokes as I'm talking. So that is a cool name though, Momo. The first memorable sighting was when I was a teenager. Me, my brother, sister, and dad. Why can't you just put like my dad, my brother, and sister and I? Instead it's just we're playing a game I learned in Boy Scouts called Manhunt. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was like the video game Manhunt. I was just like, damn, that video game's banned all around the world. This was basically a blend of hide and seek and tag. We set a boundary around the cinder thicket, the cinder wood area north of the house. Me and my little brother were on a team against my dad and sister. Why can't you just put my little brother and I? Me and my brother would hide first, with my dad and my sister looking after us, blah, 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 blah. We ended up catching my sister, but we couldn't find my dad, and we started working together. The cedars were thick, and the sun was setting. Not good news there, because it gets dark, and, we were probably in the last 10 minutes of daylight. We went to catch our dad fast before we couldn't see anymore. Why didn't you take flashlights with you? We searched in most of the area, and we didn't find him. Eventually, we spotted what looked like a 2 feet, about 20 feet in front of us. Dare were barefoot and pale. They were barefoot and pale. So basically, this dude, after his long-ass story, basically spotted Gollum. I'm getting a headache reading this. This dude's from the same state I am in. So, anyway, this dude spotted, apparently it's Gollum. So, anyway, that's it for the podcast. It was fun doing the show. We haven't done the show for a while since I don't remember, but taking a break, getting things done. So anyway, we'll be back Monday hosting the show again. The ice cream truck. I wish I had money for ice cream. Anyway, we'll be back Monday. Happy to do the show. We'll finish the Batman Year One script, hopefully. So anyway, I will be back. Keep your social distance going. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. And I'll see you on Monday. Bye. Sorry. I'll be back Monday. Bye.